let's discuss the issue of law enforcement or law authority in this country, if we could, for a few minutes. This is vitally important. In this nation that was founded as a republic by our founding fathers, law enforcement, law or authority given to law enforcement was very limited, but vitally important. All societies must have law enforcement, laws to regulate themselves, moral laws and issues that must be regarded in society. If you do not have that, then you cannot have a peaceful, prosperous society. The people that choose to live together in communities have to decide for themselves, if they're going to be a free people, what law enforcement can and cannot do. They must also decide for themselves what they are willing to pay these law enforcement officials, and what they're limited to do on their own without permission from the people. Now, today in America, we have lots of what we'll call law enforcement, but really not law enforcement at all. They are enforcing regulations that are passed unlawfully, and that word "passed" again is almost an oxymoron, because it's not even really passed. They just make regulations. For example, we have the DNR, the ATF, the Department of Transportation, the FBI, the DEA, passing and regulating people with laws that never have been made, never been passed through the legislature, whether state or federal. They just make regulations and enforce them. They carry the guns and the badges to say they have authority. My friends, a gun and a badge does not give you authority. All authority first comes from our Creator. All authority first comes from our Creator. Then the people have authority to say who shall rule over them, and what authority those people that rule them may have. Our founding fathers set up a system that was from the grassroots or the foundation of the people up to the federal, not from the federal back down to the people. Now, this has been flipped completely over. Now the federal authorities come in and take control of the local authorities and regulate the people. Folks, that is unconstitutional and unbiblical. The people, if you read the Constitution, it says, we the people. We are the government of the land. We determine what laws we will allow to be enforced, what are constitutional, what are right and wrong. We must determine these things. But again, the people that are elected to office are servants of the people. They're not their masters. We must reiterate that strongly with a forceful voice together as a united front. Now, I want to discuss quickly and briefly law enforcement with badges and guns. Most folks don't understand this. Even most people that I want to talk about don't even know this as a fact, but it's true. The only elected law enforcement in the country are the sheriffs. The county sheriffs are the only elected law enforcement agency in this nation. The state police, the federal police agencies are not elected. They're hired or appointed. The sheriff was elected by the people for one purpose only, and that was to defend the people's properties and persons and rights. He's elected for a purpose because that gives the people control, not the sheriff. They can unelect him if they must, or unseat him during his term if they must also, because of his tyrannical acts. When we lose the ability to control those who enforce the law, we lose our freedoms. We lose our liberty. We become a nation of regulations and actually a tyranny, a police state, if you will. So please keep in mind, local sheriffs need to be reminded of this from time to time, that no federal authority should come into their county unless they come to the sheriff first. Actually, no federal authority should be allowed in any state, and that will be another issue as myself as governor. A federal authority has no authority inside the state. According to Article 1, Section 8, Paragraph 17, the federal authority only has authority within 10 square miles of Washington, D.C., and upon properties ceded to them by the states for the use as post offices or forts or arsenals. Other than that, federal authority has no authority inside the state. And as governor, I can promise you, federal authority in this state will be very limited. We will go back to state and local authority as it should be. The sheriffs need to be reminded in all 55 counties of this state that they are the highest lawful authority in their county. No one has a legal, lawful right to enter their county to enforce any laws unless they come to the sheriff first. And then that must be, then he as a sheriff must act on behalf of that authority to enforce the law, because he is the law of that county. Sheriffs, if you watch this, I beg you to listen to me. You're watching in your counties, I'm sure, federal entities coming in, seizing property, trying to enforce non-laws. As I mentioned before, the IRS code, the IRS income tax is not a law. It's never been law. It never has been. There's no law requiring you to pay income taxes. But the IRS can then seize property every day inside this county because we think there's a law that requires that, and we think the sheriff must obey federal authority. That is not true. Sheriffs, please listen to me. You are elected to protect the people of your county. You're there to protect and serve, not to protect and rule, nor to allow any tyrant to come in and to attack someone under your protection. Please understand that the sheriffs must reinforce and regain and reestablish their authority in their counties. And the peoples of the county must once again demand that the sheriffs do this. As the governor of the state of West Virginia, I can tell you this: the sheriffs will be reminded quite frequently of their roles as protectors of the people's rights and properties. And the people will be reminded also from their governor that they themselves are their own government. And as long as they obey the moral, godly, and constitutional laws in their counties and in this state, no law enforcement agency will touch them inside the state of West Virginia. We will go back to constitutional and biblical laws, and we will enforce that.